Alright folks, welcome back to Let's Play Starflight 2. Not StarCraft 2, apologies. I'm the Mysterious JG. Two quick things to apologize for in previous videos. A, when the first video of this LP went up, I called it Freudian Slip StarCraft 2, and I had some people who apparently didn't take kindly to that because they thought it was an intentional prank of some kind. It wasn't. It was just me goofing up. It hasn't gone up yet, but I did record some StarCraft 2 just as a test video, so I probably had that on the brain. And B, in the last video, although by the time I got around to recording this, video 3 in the LP, video 2 was online, and I got to see comments. So for a change, I have actually seen the comments on the previous videos. But I did, before that was posted, but well before recording this video, but after it was posted, but before seeing Bobo was the first one to comment on it, I did eventually remember that the Pequod is the ship from Moby Dick, and in fact, I think I even mentioned in a previous LP that I've read Moby Dick, uncut, the full text version of Moby Dick. I think I mentioned it in an LP as one of those I am so cultured and educated things, but apparently I came out of Moby Dick without even remembering the name of the damn ship. Anyway, no new notices. When last you joined us, General Viewer, we had just returned from a visit to Space Squirrel. We went out and recommended a colony world, and we got ourselves a Class 3 engine. And we're ready to go out and earn some more monies, to get some more shinies. So here's the deal. You remember how I told you that in this LP I wasn't going to do a bunch of off-screening? Well, I lied. Apparently I've already lied to you, because what I've done is I went and I earned some money off-screen. But I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, and then we're going to load to where I've already earned some more money. Because I had a long wait at the airport on the way back to the States, and I wanted to play a game where I could play it, kill some time, have some fun, do something useful for the LP, and also do all of that without putting on headphones for sound, because I wanted to be able to hear any announcements over the airport intercom. You really don't want to just be completely dead to the world and have your flight get canceled or have your gate change while you are dead to the world. So anyway, what I did is I came to this system here. Scanners indicate unidentified object. I actually made a point of flying right by these guys. It's the Tandaloo again. I ignored them. I'm surprised you can even get away with this. I flew right by without talking to them, and I'm still allowed to orbit their planet. And we have the first ever download satellite data sound. I think that's the first time that's happened in this LP. And we got the cultural thing. Inhabited by Tandaloo Eshvi. This is data coming from a Humna Humna trade boy that we have downloaded. Inhabited by Tandaloo Eshvi. Tech level spacefaring, population density very dense, inflated economy, and they bargain a lot. Cultural analysis: a radial, tentacled life form, relatively non-aggressive to all but the Eshvara. Extreme religious culture based on ceremony. At their trading centers, they will sell system scanners, holovids, and assorted eyeball tasties. They buy god masks, yellow huggers, hot fungus, and the popberry plant. You may be able to guess what I did to make money. I had to sell them stuff. I had to sell them god masks, yellow huggers, hot fungus, or popberry plants. Well, I don't have god masks. I don't have any of the others either. But 2 of those 3 life forms are indigenous to this planet. So what I basically did for an hour or 2 off screen, maybe it was more than that even, is I landed on the Tandaloo planet and I went big game hunting. I went around catching local wildlife and selling them. I was like a fur trapper. I was selling coonskins to the locals. So let me go out and find one of these guys. Well, there's a little town over here. Come over here and you can see Tandaloo Eshvi dwellings, and they will give you data Mr. Data from Star Trek. They will give you data on the species if you look at them. You also have this, some Tandaloo Eshvi in a vehicle, and you have the local life. A small, delicate, rust-colored plant with a few large hexagonally shaped leaves. Growing from the base of this plant are several large clusters of small pink berries with black spots. When this plant is disturbed, it releases a chemical into the berries, causing them to explode like loud firecrackers, thus frightening off any predators. That's the popberry plant. It is harmless. And you keep driving around, you also find these guys. A squat tree trunk with thick branches. The trunk extends up to about 2 meters and then spreads out to an extremely wide low canopy. From this canopy hang thousands of long, teardrop-shaped leaves, which seem to be made of glass or crystal. The tree has several thick tentacle-like roots, which it uses to move itself about in search of mineral deposits. As it moves, its leaves make a loud tinkling sound. Those are called moving chandeliers. They're actually... Oh, come on, stay put. I want to just show the people. Ah! I'll have to stun it, but hopefully not kill it. I'm just trying to show the good folks at home. It's a unit size 10, so they're quite large. They only have an intrinsic value of roughly 250, and the Tandaloo don't buy them. So in previous plays of this game, I've caught quite a few of those, filled my cargo hold with them, in the hopes of finding someplace to sell them. And I think there is one species that will buy them, but they're really not worth the trouble. So I'm just going to keep driving around, because as I said, we're going to be loading a different game here in a minute, but just show you what I did. Well, there's a different kind of plant, but this is one that the Tandaloo don't buy, so I didn't bother with them. Medium-sized plant with a ring of long symmetrical stems growing up from the base. On the end of each alternating stem is a large yellow flower, and on each other stem is a heart-shaped leaf. In the center of the plant is a thick stalk growing straight up, on top of which is a large thistle-coupled pod. This pod is hollow with many holes in it, and in it lives thousands of tiny symbiotic flying creatures which pollinate the plant's flowers. I think they're called hive plants. Your hive plant is under attack! But the Tandaloo don't buy them, so there's really no point getting them. I mean, if you're just doing like me and you're just gathering stuff to sell to the Tandaloo, there's no point. There is a Tandaloo trading outpost. I'm not going to go there till we've picked up the other thing that you can sell. I don't believe there's any yellow huggers on this planet. I'd never encountered any. So I'm not going to bother with that, but I need to find a hot fungus. Good, there's hot fungus over there. I got to the point where I could tell, even on the distance pictures, I can tell what they are. A small, rounded, fungoid life form with a slimy green exterior. The surface of the fungus is cracked, and issuing from the cracks is steam and a deep red glow. The life form also gives off a tremendous amount of heat. Stevie night heat. Whenever a creature approaches too closely, the fungus sprays a shower of molten rock in that direction. This one actually can be dangerous. It can kill your crew members. If you just drive right up to it, try to pick it up. Life form avoids capture, use stunner. So let's just sit here for a minute and see what happens. It attacks Nobunaga Oda. He's more than half dead. So we will stun it. We will pick it up. We'll pick up the popberry plant first by mistake, and then we will pick up the hot fungus, hopefully before it recovers from being stunned. Stunner! Stunner! My God, King! Stone Cold just stunned that molten fungus! So we'll go to the trade center. Welcome, disciples. We are the only Tandaloo, the Tandaloo Eshvi, teachers of the one truth. Somebody commented that my Gorzek voice sounds too much like the Velox. I thought I was doing a robot voice for Gorzek. Velox didn't talk like that. Maybe he meant the Mechans. I don't know, but yeah, the Tandaloo, I don't really have a voice for them other than just kind of being like, welcome, disciples. Ooh, ah. Okay, so I didn't really bother to sell any of the standard trade goods we start with. You get 15 units of a couple of trade goods. Standard trade goods are weird because if they offer 0, that means they don't want them. They're not interested in buying them at any price. They are not considered to be currently in demand on their planet. the life forms that are listed as things they will buy, they will always buy. Shinium. I guess you can't sell them Shinium? Huh, I thought you could always sell Shinium. You can always buy Shinium. And you don't negotiate for it. For anything else, you negotiate for. So, for example, the popberry plant. STV stands for Standard Trade Value. I don't know. It's a weird. It's this concept we have in accounting. The fair value or the market value of something. I mean, the fair value of something it's a nebulous concept, but it means that when you take away, supply and demand, that there's an intrinsic value that a trade good has, and this is kind of what it is in this game. It's like 100% STV means this is what the thing is actually really worth, but you're never going to sell it for its exact fair value. You're either going to get a slightly better deal or a worse deal. But in this game, somebody sets what these things are actually worth. The popberry plant is worth 290, or no, it's not worth 290. It's whatever it's worth. 290 is 72% of that, because that's the starting negotiation point of the Tandaloo trader that we're talking to. Already I am flustered by your calm and clever manner. In my distracted state of mind, I forget to attempt to barter and begin with my highest offer of 290. So you can agree, you can counter, or you can flat out refuse and end negotiations. I think if you refuse and end negotiations, you don't get another pass at negotiating until you leave world. I think even possibly leave the system in return. You have to at least have another day pass before you're allowed to negotiate again. So generally, if the species is willing to barter, you need to barter with them. And the rule of thumb is that you double their starting price, and then you move towards something that's in the middle. Sometimes I'll even go a little higher. So at 300, let's start at 750. That's way more than we'll actually be able to get for them. My time is valuable. Let us say 750 and be done with it. I don't know what that's supposed to be Seymour. I trade not for myself, but for the survival of my race. For the sake of future generations, I must remain firm on my offer of 290. Just because he didn't move doesn't mean he's not willing to move. You have to show that you're willing to move. Would you agree to 600? So we have a deal then at, what was it, 333? Bring it down to 450. I simply cannot agree to 450. I suggest 370, a fair offer. It's actually not going well. We should have been able to get him over 100% of its value because we're selling in an inflated economy. So usually when you're selling in an inflated economy in this game, you can get more than 100% of what something's worth. But it didn't cost us anything to get other than time. We just wandered around on the planet and collect them. So it's not like I purchased these things somewhere else for 100% and I need to break 100% to make a profit. And if you keep negotiating with them for too long, they'll lose patience. Perhaps I might be ready to go as high as 407, but that is most certainly my limit. I think 400 is the actual 100%, so we'll agree to that. And now you sell them, and if you go collect more in return, you no longer negotiate. The price is set, even at a different trade center on the same planet. Really, there's just one trade center with lots of locations, and if I come back, I'll be selling them for 407. But as you can see, the hot fungus, it's worth like 2,000. So each hot fungus is worth like 4 or 5 of those popberry plants. So they're by far your biggest profit item that you're selling to these guys right now, not counting stuff that you buy elsewhere and bring over to them. Ah, yes, the hot fungus. I can see that you are a trader of distinction. Let us say 1,550. Let's counter and go with 4,500. Lady Una, I see that you have a fine eye for hot fungus. I suggest 4,500. I will agree to a final offer of 1,829. You must take it or leave it. 4,000. For you, I will pay the one-time special offer of 2089. See, maybe because we sold him something at a decent price before and he's happy with us, we're already having better luck negotiating for this item. So let's take this down to 3,500. I'm afraid 2089 was my very highest offer. As I said, we'll go down to 3,000. And if he absolutely will not move... Ah, you are a most astute trader, but 3,000 is not acceptable. How could I have forgotten? Today we have a special deal on hot fungus. The special high offer is 2206. That's probably as good as we're going to get, but let's try 2,500. You must think of my poor starving offspring. I would be letting them down if I agreed to anything other than 2288. That's good enough. Especially because we're about to load and do a different game anyway. So let's... oh, you can't hit escape on that screen. Oh, you can. I was thinking for a minute it wouldn't let you save. Quit without saving. Now we are going to play saved game number 3. Lord Alfred, I drew number 3. Sorry. Little joke for Bobo there. And in this game, basically I did exactly what you just saw, but I did it for like 2 or 3 hours at the airport. And we now have a cargo hold that's 45% full. Oh no, wait a second. This is I had more money than that. This isn't the right... I have a save that didn't come up as a numbered save. It just came up as quit without saving. Resume my current game. It doesn't come up as a numbered save. It's like an auto unnumbered save. Hopefully I didn't lose that, because I had more money than that. I would have lost a certain amount of my playing that I did off screen if I didn't... The saving game in this is a little bit weird. It's something that the people who resurrected the game came up with, because it wasn't really naturally part of the game, I think. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. That's like twice as much Shinium pennies. I have 152,000 Shinium pennies. I thought I'd lost about half of them based on how the game saved. But as you see, I didn't sell any of the standard trade goods. I got a hot fungus I didn't sell and a potberry plant. I must have picked these on the way back to my ship from the last trading post I visited. But there's a creature on the planet called the Purple Screecher that I grabbed because they're worth 1,300, so I figured somebody will buy them. And I remembered that you can sell the vacuum slugs to somebody relatively nearby, so I've got 100 gross of vacuum slugs, which are another creature that you can encounter on the surface. So I sure hope I find where to sell them, because otherwise I've got like a quarter of my ship's cargo capacity is taken up by vacuum slugs that have been placed in stasis. And if I can't find a way to sell them, they'll just have to be released into the vacuum of space. Anyway, check this out. This is also fun. Check out where I landed. It's my first time landing on the planet. I landed right in the middle of a village. So we just like popped out right in the middle of a town and are like, "Take me to your leader." Scared the hell out of them. Especially because we're Keanu Reeves and we came with a big robot. Because being a Philistine, and when I think of the day the Earth stood still, I think of the Keanu Reeves version first. So there's another potberry plant. Just because I'm going to go sell the ones I've already got, so I might as well grab some along the way. And here's a vacuum slug. Like I said, I got 106 of them. A long tube of shiny black gelatinous material projecting out along the body of this life form are thousands of small waving feelers. At each end of the creature is a writhing hose. As it moves, the front hose sucks up dirt and small life forms, while the rear hose shoots out the debris. The life form leaves a trail of slime as it moves and gives off a pungent odor of rotten meat. Sounds delightful! As you can see, each one has a mass of 2, so in fact, that will bring me up to 108 total vacuum slug, which means that I've picked up 54 of those things over the course of playing the game to kill time at the airport. So that'll give you an idea how much time I spent doing this just to kind of kill time. But it was useful. I mean, it's going to save us a certain amount of work on screen. I wanted to make most of my money with trading because that's more interesting for you guys to watch. But, yeah. So I really need to just find a trade place, and there we go. But yeah, the hot fungus is really what I made most of my money on. Because potberry plants are more plentiful, but you'd need to find literally 5 of them for every hot fungus before you'd be making most of your money that way, and I don't think I did. So we will sell the hot fungus for, I negotiated 113% of its value, which is very nice. Because, of course, it's a percentage, so the fact that it has a higher base value than the potberry plant makes each of those percentages more important. I only got 105% of the value of the potberry plant, but it's not as big a deal because it's not where I'm making most of my money. And just to clear out space in my hold, I might try to get rid of these guys. Medicine and narcotics. My offer for the medicine and narcotics is fixed at 187. Counter with 450. Perhaps 450. You are a most astute trader, but 450 is not acceptable. You must think of my poor starving offspring. I would be letting them down if I agreed to anything other than 224. And the other thing to bear in mind is that these were free. I got these for free, so it's not a huge deal if I don't make a ton of profit off of them. 400. I'm afraid I cannot go that high. I will make next to no profit, but since you seem like such a nice and personable alien, I will pay 261. 350. You dazzle me with your trading skill. I am confused and off guard. In my dazzled state, I will pay the insanely high offer of 298. It really bothers me when I can't crack 100, but I probably need to just... 300, that's, I think, good enough. I'm just trying to clear them out to make space for other more valuable trade goods at this point. Seeds and spores. For seeds and spores of this quality, I would pay 103. 300. Well, I may well get fired, but because you remind me of my pod mate, I might be persuaded to pay 140. 250. I'd trade not for myself, but for my race. 200, because he didn't even move. It was straight trade over 200, not acceptable. What would you say to 177? Counter with 185. He'll probably agree to that. Nope. Fine, we'll sell them for slightly less than they're actually worth. But they didn't cost us anything, and I'm just trying to clear space on my hold. Vegetables and meats. 108 is my one and only offer. Bullshit. I know it isn't. If you promise not to tell no one else, I can pay 145. He jumped up quite a bit that time. I think the more business you do with them, the more willing they are to negotiate with you. In general, that's what I feel like. I'm afraid I cannot go that high. I'm no match for you. You have talked me into my very highest offer of 163. I bow my head in shame. 200. 163 is my best and final offer. 175. He'll probably agree to. I stand at 163. Fine. Sell it all. You don't have to sell it all. You can keep some. And then he's not interested in buying these. So I could show you... Oh, I forgot to sell the popberry plants. I could show you what happens if you try to sell them stuff they're not interested in. I regret to say that we have no use for the nutritive fluids right now, perhaps another time. If you keep trying to sell it to them, you'll piss them off, and they'll stop trading even for things that they do want. And there's no particular reason to do that, but yeah, I might show it to you some other time. You can really piss them off. There's an artifact you can eventually acquire where you can find out what mood the person you're talking to is in. I don't have it, and it'll be a while before I can get my hands on it. But when I do, we can play around with the experiment with what different actions we'll take as far as their mood goes. Generally, if you close a deal with them, if you give them a really good deal, it makes them like you a lot. And if you give them, but closing any deal with them generally increases their relationship with you. I suppose if you get into a position where you negotiate a really strong deal in your own favor, it might piss them off, but generally if a deal is successfully negotiated at all, it can only be to the good as far as your relationship with the species in question goes. Excuse me. So, closing in on the end of a video. I don't have a huge amount of time I can dedicate to recording right now, so I don't know if I'll be able to do another video or not. But let's get in here and take advantage of our great trading acumen. If we go to the bank, you can see each individual trading transaction is separately listed, so yeah, very quickly you've got more history than you could possibly review, but you can see that the 20 grand and the 13 grand, that would be at the end of a pretty long run without going to a trading post and selling off a bunch of hot fungus. See if there's any no new evaluations. I haven't done any new colony worlds. Borno, you'll have to find me first, Xenon, because of course Xenon had said, Borno, where's my money? Or I still want my money. And that's left over from the previous game. To all captains, several captains have reported running into Spemen pirate ships in this region. Be warned, these ships are equipped with plasma bolts and Class 6 shielding, similar to the Ulek. In addition, some of their... So we can assume that, this is... We're not quite at Mass Effect here, folks. The computer is not really equipped to go check your save game data for Starflight, because you don't have hard drive saved game data for Starflight. It was all off floppies. So the computer can't really check to see whether you blew up the Ulek brain world in the last game. They have to set a baseline starting point. As I mentioned, even if you're super nice to the Spemen, they're still going to hate you in this game. And the Ulek are going to be around, whether or not you try to destroy them in the last game. So I guess they never actually come out and tell you. In theory, the Ulek could have been destroyed, but these people remember what the Ulek armament was. So never mind. Maybe we don't know for sure if the Ulek are wiped out, but certainly the Ulek left an impression on the people of Arth, because they're comparing the new Spemen technology that they've acquired to the Ulek. And I think at some place in the manual, it's the running theory that the Arthlings have right now about how the Spemen got this technology is that the plasma bolts, at least, it is assumed were somehow acquired from the Ulek. Even though the Ulek had never spoken to the Arthlings, we don't know how the Spemen might have been able to actually communicate with them. Anyway, in addition, some of their ships have phasing capability, and their shielding seems to work in nebulae. We suggest that when encountering these ships, unless you know some trick that we don't know, that you comply with their demands. Will you meet their demands? A special congratulations to Cadet Fexitutex, winner of the highly coveted Robin Williams Memorial Funny Fella Award. Fexi is the first Veloxy to ever win this award. Okay, are they making fun of Robin Williams, or... Important. It has come to our attention that there exists in this region of space a star system in which ruins of the ancients may be found. Ooh, interesting. We have also learned that there may be races that actually maintain a commerce in Endurium. You are hereby warned that disturbing the Endurium or engaging in any manner of trade involving Endurium is most strictly prohibited. Failure to abide by this rule, which includes bringing Endurium into Starport for any reason, will result in severe and immediate action. End of notices. If you can trade in Endurium in this game, because there are aliens who trade in Endurium, and you can get involved in that. But if you forget you've got Endurium in your cargo and you visit Starport, you get hit with a pretty heavy fine. Because after all, as we remember from the last game, Endurium is actually a sentient life form. So we got some cash monies. We got our mines on our money and our money on our mines. Let's sell our Class 3 engines that we only recently acquired. I probably should never have bought them. I probably should have just gone straight from 1 to 5. But we will now acquire Class 5 engines. That's a major step, of course, because of course, sweet America, of course. Because it means that we'll be burning less shinium, which means that as far as like completing the game in a logical sequence, that's definitely the first thing you want to upgrade to the highest class, because it's the one that's going to save you money in the long run. None of these other things are actually going to be saving you money. I don't think there's any point in the game where jump pods are so cheap that you're saving money by using them rather than burning the shinium to get there manually. The next thing to buy would probably be Class 5 shielding and armor. I could afford Class 5 armor, but not Class 5 shielding yet. But I think at this point we're just going to be totally weak and defenseless, and we're going to just avoid all combat. All combat is over. Until we've got some more money. So the thing that I think to do now is to make sure everybody gets trained up to the maximum in their thing. So Dr. Anastasia, come here. Time for her to get trained up to the max. Our Thrin is Duke Togo is already trained to the max. Ruby Malone, fuck you, training. She's going to get trained up to the best in engineering, although really that's not going to be useful until we get to the point in the game where we're in combat, because at this point we're just going to run away from all combat. And with no armor or shielding, if we get hit with anything, we're dead. So now everybody is at their highest skill level in whatever their skill is, and just because the odds of Anastasia getting killed are fairly high, we'll go ahead and train Captain Seymour Guado. We'll learn Curaga and Full Life so that he can, help people if it's needed. And crew assignment and trade depot. We could buy the TV lifeform shield at this point. 40,000. But I think I've done pretty much all of the lifeform trading that I'm going to do At least I won't bother to do any more on camera. So I think that's going to be it. So we're ready to take off, and I think, I don't know if I'm going to be able to record another video now, because, well, I'll explain at the beginning of the next video, if I even start one, why I might have to cut that one off suddenly. But that's going to be it for this video. When we come back, I think we're just going to fly, I think we'll find the Tandaloo and talk to the Tandaloo and try to get some leads on where to go next. We know that the plot element we've been introduced to is, we know that the Tandaluvian Civil War has been caused because the Spemen stole an artifact called the Most Valuable Thing. And we know it's on a planet called Bemfblunk, and we know where Bemfblunk is, but we don't know the coordinates on the planet Bemfblunk. So we could go to Bemfblunk and start looking around, but it's pretty far away. It looks like we'd have to either go a really long way around or circumnavigate the Cloud Nebula to get there, and the Cloud Nebula, we've been warned, is extremely dangerous. So it seems like that's something we probably don't want to, mess with until we're a little bit more secure in ourselves. And our, what am I saying? It's until we're more secure in our sexuality, I guess. We might go there and be tempted to some kind of decadent Hollywood lifestyle. Yeah, whatever. I'm not making sense, but just kidding around, folks. Yeah, I think at this point our best bet is to fly around, see if we can encounter the Tandaloo or maybe other friendly aliens, and just start getting information. And obviously we need to start looking into getting into trade, because that's the only way we're going to earn money. But I think if we do some chatting with the Tandaloo, we might be able to pick up some good ideas on how to get started with trade. Either way, folks, it's going to be it for this video. When we come back, it's going to be time to get into some basic exploring. So I hope you're there with me for that. I will see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.